Is player chat reporting bad for Minecraft? In one of the newer updates for Minecraft, they are going to be adding player chat reporting to the game, which means that in a multiplayer setting, you can report people to Mojang specifically for abusive or rude chat messages, and then those people can get banned from multiplayer permanently or temporarily. It doesn't really matter. The only difference is that, you can get on after a certain amount of time. But in this video, we are going to be discussing whether or not this is good, whether or not it is bad, and generally the things that go into affect it. So the first part, I will be discussing what things this is good at and why this is a good feature. And in the second part, I will be discussing why this is a bad feature and should be removed. So stick around. Alright, first let's talk about the reasons why it is a good change, because there are actually a few reasons, no matter what people will tell you. The first reason this is a good change is because Minecraft, even Minecraft Java Edition, is still a kid's game. And a lot of people, especially content creators who are adults, kind of forget this, but Minecraft is generally a kid's game made for kids, and kids can be very insecure about basically everything, to be honest. No offense, kids, but so sometimes you have to realize that this type of bullying, as it won't affect people, teenagers, adults, whatever, it will affect the main audience of Minecraft, this block game, right? It's made for kids, so you can't really say, like, yeah, we're just gonna let people do whatever. So that would be one of the reasons why it's a good change and why people are going to want it. Another reason in favor of this change is that this is Mojang's game, so Mojang can kind of do whatever they want with it. And yes, there are servers with their own community guidelines and, whatever, but at the same time, whatever you're doing, whatever server you're on, you're still playing Minecraft, and therefore Minecraft, or the owner of Minecraft, Mojang, can kind of do whatever they want with their game. It is their game, and they can do what they want. And again, if they feel that this is necessary, you can't really argue, because they're the ones with the company. Microsoft owns their company, and whatever Microsoft says, they kind of have to do. And I think finally, for the section of reasons it's good, is that the fact that we don't know currently how Mojang is going to enforce this. We don't know how many people are actually going to get banned or suspended for different types of things. It might be that only like 1 or 2 people get banned all the time, or it might be that like even the most minor offense people get banned for, because we don't know how they're going to enforce it. We don't know what they're going to choose to ban people for and what they're not going to choose to ban people for. So I don't think we should be all up in arms yet. We shouldn't start complaining and getting angry at Mojang yet until we see how bad this is and how much they're enforcing it. Because if they never enforce it, then, I mean, first off, there's no point in adding the rule in the first place. But if they never enforce it, we don't really have anything to complain about. Okay, and now I would like to discuss some of the reasons why this is a bad change. And these are the reasons that are being focused on in the community right now, because everybody is kind of upset about these changes. And these are the reasons, and they are valid reasons, do not get me wrong, that this change is bad, and that this should not be added into Minecraft, and that we should stand up against this. So the first reason is that there are servers out there, like anarchy servers, where there are no rules, everything is kind of allowed, and it wouldn't work very well if somebody joined in one of those servers knowing there were no rules, got like bullied, cussed out in the chat, whatever. And not to say those things are good, because that shouldn't be happening, but at the same time, in an anarchy server where anything is allowed, you kind of know what you're getting into when you get into it. Like, okay, look, there are people, this is what people are going to do, so you can't. And then if you start reporting everybody on like 2b2t because of all kinds of bad stuff going on in the chat or whatever, and then a bunch of them get banned, it's like, well, they joined an anarchy server. You joined an anarchy server where the whole point is you can do whatever you want. So should you really get banned for that? Especially, should you really get banned from all servers and from realms too, actually? And that is, yeah, like, that's kind of a moral standpoint. So, I'm leaving up to you whether or not what the answer to that question should be. But it is definitely a valid question. Another question that, or a statement, I guess, that should be said is, should you get banned from realms, especially a realms account that you have paid for, because it costs like $50 for 6 months or something to get a realms world? Should you really get banned from your realms world that you own for doing something on a server? And you could argue, and I think this is probably a pretty valid argument, that that just means that everyone should be more enticed. There should be a better reason to behave when you're on a server, because then you could lose out on something you paid for. But at the same time, it almost seems like false advertising to have somebody pay $50 for 6 months of the world, and then they get banned for that 2 months in because of something they did on a different part of the game. And I guess the other side of that is if you own your own server, and if you're the owner of a server and you make the rules on your server, and if you make the rules, then you can make the rules to whatever you want, and you make it so that you can do whatever you want, and then like you get banned by someone else, well, you get reported by somebody else, and then you get banned from the server that, again, you paid for this server, and then you get banned from it. Like, should you really get banned for that, especially if you were the owner? Like, whoever was joining the server kind of knew what they were signing up for, and if they didn't, they could have just stopped playing on the server instead of reporting you or whatever. And of course, there are some things that you can't unsee or whatever, and that's definitely a thing. So if you own a server, you shouldn't be being super mean to all the kids that are joining your server, but at the same time, should you get banned from all multiplayer Minecraft just for that? And going even farther with this kind of chain of thought, LAN worlds. The only way you can access an LAN world is, or a LAN world, I guess. A LAN world. The only way you can access a LAN world is via the multiplayer tab. And we saw a screenshot. It gets grayed out when you get banned, or suspended, or whatever. It gets grayed out, so you couldn't even join a LAN world when you're banned. You could maybe open your world to LAN. I don't know how it works. I've never gotten banned, and I don't think many people have yet, so it's hard to see what the thing is that what it looks like. Come on, I need to get my words straight. I don't know whether or not you can open your world to LAN, or whether or not you can join other people's LAN worlds, but at the same time, if you're on the same internet, then it's not like the people that are on the same internet you are going to be reporting you, are going to be mad at you, because they're not going to let you into the world otherwise. You can just ban people from your LAN world. So that is another thing. And one of the final arguments against this is that most major servers, I'm basically talking about Hypixel here, because basically nobody else plays anything else except for Hypixel. Yes, there are other things for survival multiplayer and other things like that, but minigames, Hypixel owns it, so I'm using Hypixel as an example. On Hypixel, you can report straight to Hypixel, and you can get people banned off of just Hypixel. So you can't, if you get banned from Hypixel, you can't join back onto Hypixel. So they can still join other things. So that's really the difference. Like, you can report somebody to Hypixel if they're hacking on Hypixel, or bullying you on Hypixel, or being offensive on Hypixel, and then Hypixel can ban them. And the nice thing about that is that they can go back, they record everything, so they can go back and see what led up to this. Because maybe if you reported to Mojang, maybe you were super bullying somebody, and then they said something rude back, and then you immediately jumped on that and reported them, and then it's okay, well, they got banned from all of multiplayer just for retaliating, which, yes, they shouldn't have, but they were definitely provoked. So Hypixel, what they can do is they record everything, so they can go back and watch the recording, figure out what happened, and determine whether or not somebody should be banned. And they've got, of course, a lot of power, a lot of responsibility with that, but you can probably trust them to have a better understanding of the situation. Whereas I'm pretty sure when you send in the ban application for Mojang, you just kind of type out a little description, and you could be completely lying, and Mojang wouldn't be able to really tell. So this is another reason why you should maybe leave it up to the servers instead of leaving it up to Mojang. And that leads pretty well into one of the other final, yes, I already said that, I know, be quiet. One of the other final reasons why this shouldn't be allowed is that you can completely lie about why you're reporting somebody, and then you might end up getting banned from multiplayer, maybe even permanently, because of something that Mojang took out of context, because somebody manipulated the system, because Mojang doesn't have context. So you could say something, and of course they're not going to ban you if you said hi, how are you, in the chat, and then somebody reported and it was I found this super offensive. They're not going to ban you for that. But at the same time, if you said something that was questionable, maybe if you were playing a Bed Wars game or whatever, and then you said oh, why did you kill me? Because, like, I don't know, they did something like that was completely wrong to do and like went against good like game sportsmanship rules or whatever. They were like, they cheaply killed you and you're like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, I'm gonna kill you now. It's like, yes, you were talking about killing them in the game, but if you sent that to Mojang, it was like, oh my gosh, they just threatened to kill me, and you know, in the previous chat message, they've been threatening me the whole game or something like that. You could seriously definitely get banned. I can very much see you getting banned, even though, yes, it was probably rude to say that, but they were lying in the description, and so then you would get banned for doing something that was a little bit mean, but not like super, super mean. Which, again, should you get banned for doing something that was a little bit mean? Yes, you shouldn't be mean at all, but you might not, it probably doesn't make sense for you to get punished so bad for something that wasn't super bad. I'm not saying that you should be, you know, mean at all, because you shouldn't. It's very wrong. Just usually keep your mouth shut in games. And that's the other thing. Most people don't even care. Like, most people don't do any bad things. Like, it's very rare that I've come across somebody who's just been a little bit toxic. I don't think I've played a lot of multiplayer mini games, and I've never come across anybody who's like super, super toxic. Most people are just there to have fun, and they're super nice. And this is the final reason. Trust me, guys. This is the last reason for it shouldn't be a thing. The last reason is that most people, especially when playing mini games on Hypixel or whatever, a lot of people, not necessarily most people, but a lot of people play on older game versions. Like, anyone who cares anything about Bed Wars always plays on 1.8 because that's what the comment is. Most people on Hypixel play on 1.8 because it's meant for 1.8, and you get all kinds of lag if you don't. And so then nobody's going to get these changes that are added in 1.19.1. So it's kind of useless in that sense. If you want to report somebody and you're playing in 1.8, you won't be able to. And so that's kind of, that also could be a reason why it should be a thing, because then, like, you know, nobody's going to use it. So, you know, why do you care? But also, like, you know, it's kind of, it might be a little bit too late for some things. And then the only real thing that you could use this for is survival multiplayer. And if you're playing a survival multiplayer server with people who are being super toxic to you in chat, just quit the game. Just stop playing on that server. Play on a different server. There's tons of small survival multiplayer servers out there. So I'm not sure why you need to do that. So now I'm going to finish with my reasons why it should, reason why it shouldn't, blah, blah, blah. I'm now going to give you my final verdict, and I'm going to tell you what you should do with this information. And what I believe that you should do is that you shouldn't ever really have to use this new system. There are a few times when somebody's being completely inappropriate, and if they're like consistently inappropriate, like you've played with them multiple times and every time they're just like it's not like you caught somebody in a bad mood or whatever, but like they're just being completely ridiculous, then I think that would be a good time to report to Mojang, especially with, like, in a survival multiplayer server. You know, if you've messaged, I think first you should go to the owner of the server. So if you're playing on Hypixel or whatever, report them to Hypixel, or, you know, however you can do that on whatever your server you're playing. First, go to the owner of the server and tell them, hey, look, can you ban this person, because there's all kinds of stuff consistently that's happening. If they refuse to do it, or if they happen to be the owner of the server, then I think that is when you need to report straight to Mojang. If you can think, and again, it's up to your discretion, so it's kind of risky, because if there are mean people out there, they're going to abuse this. But at your discretion, I think if somebody is being completely inappropriate, then you should probably report them to Mojang in that circumstance. But I think in all other circumstances, just report them straight to the server owner, because that first off makes it easier on Mojang, because Mojang is just one company, whereas each server is their own company and business. Report straight to the server before you report to Mojang. Only do that as kind of a last resort, I would say. And of course, be honest. Like, never report somebody for something they didn't do, or twist somebody's words or anything like that, because that would be super mean, and you would hate to have your account taken away because of something that you said being misinterpreted. So don't be mean about it, but also always go straight to the server owner. Don't go to Mojang unless you absolutely have to. And even before going to Mojang, if the server owner refuses to do anything about it, I would suggest, unless it's really, really bad, to just stop playing on whatever server it is. And if it's on Hypixel, it's a minigame, you know, something like that. Not necessarily Hypixel, but if it's a minigame of some sort, like, they're not going to be in your lobby every single time. So just don't worry about it. And if they like keep trying to friend you or something, then maybe report them to Mojang or the first the server owner, of course, but then to Mojang. But if it's like a multiplayer server, like there's millions of I mean, not millions, but there's a ton of small multiplayer servers out there. So just join another one. Like, yes, you'll have to start over. You'll lose your progress. But at the same time, it's a video game. It's all for fun. And you probably enjoy it anyways, starting over. So just don't play on servers with bad people. If there's a server that's like super corrupt and you don't like playing on it, yes, you could report people to Mojang, but I would recommend more just stop playing on the server, because then you don't have to deal with it. No skin off your back. So, you know, I mean, and that's not a good scenario to take into most situations. But in this situation, I think it applies. If it's not really affecting you, like if everybody else on the server is fine with whatever is going on, but it's making you uncomfortable, let them deal with it. Like they can, if they think it's fine, then it's fine for them. And if it's making you feel uncomfortable, just go someplace else. There are plenty of small multiplayer servers out there that you can join. And yes, if it's really bad and you think that they need to be reported to Mojang, then I think you should. But otherwise, if it's just if it's not really bad, then just either stop playing or report it to the server owner. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched all the way to end, then good for you. I'm glad you could hear my opinions, but I will see you guys next time.